Tom, and I have got a Round 2 model review for you.
Well, first impressions first, it's certainly an interesting packaging concept they came up with here. I imagine that saves not only on packaging but also on shipping space too. Nice graphics on all of them, that's certain. Really well done illustrations. Let's pop them open. So for 4 little boxes, this is a lot of plastic as well. For size reference, I brought out this Tamiya little spray can, and it is exactly as big as the saucer for the toss. Over here on the refit, it just barely fits inside it. After that, this one fits just barely inside the phaser ring, just over the entire bridge. And I'm surprised how small the E is. I thought that was supposed to be much bigger than the D. Anyhow, let's cut this plastic open and take a look at some of the parts. We'll call this box 1, the first 3 Enterprises. No grid lines on this guy, which is nice to see. This isn't the original 3-piece ship set that they did back in the 70s, is it? This is just a repeat of the AMT design with the 3 little bumps and all the rings and stuff. Interesting. All the windows are raised lines on that. Over here with the B, all the grid lines are raised. Wow, all over the place. That would take a lot of work to sand away. Oh, these aren't raised, those are nice in there. These look pretty sweet. All of these are raised. Once you put the decals on, I'm sure that's going to change the effect a lot. We'll take a look at those next. What a good size plastic. Excelsior is definitely a nice little size. I think the best benefit to having this entire series is that you get to see all the different sizes of the ships, and I'll definitely be putting the original next to the D at some point. So let's take a look at box 2, the B, the C, and here's a look at the C. It's a design I'm not really that familiar with. I've only seen the episode it was in once or twice many years ago. I thought it was good at the time, but I've never really had occasion to study the design itself. So it's interesting to see all the details that are going on all over the place here. The design people really went crazy with windows at one point in their careers, I think. So while all of these lines are raised, though very fine, much finer than the B in the refit, all of these windows here are indented. The panel lines there are inscribed. And these nacelles just say you can't light them. I suppose you could try. If you did really careful masking, you could get those to light up, I think. Cast in a very light blue to contrast with the other two. Actually, so far, each one of these plastics is a slightly different color. This is definitely a handful of a model kit. Should build up to a good size. Let's take a look at the D. So I felt pretty good about the other kits so far, but the D definitely disappoints. Whereas all the other kits went out of their way to make sure that every little indentation was taken care of, every little window. That's completely skipped. Surface details are bare and flat. Of course, the decals are going to really add to a lot of this. So that's not really a problem. In fact, it makes things a lot easier for them, but compared to the other 4, it really surprises me to come to this all of a sudden. But the details that are there are definitely the ones that pretty much should be there, it looks like. One disappointing thing is these huge injection points. That's a really tough bit of flash right there. Yeah, that's, I mean, it's not going to be too difficult to clean off, but that is really a solid chunk of plastic. It happens here as well. Ouch. So that's going to be a fun bit of cleaning for whoever builds this kit. So overall, the shapes are definitely there. The details, while minimally present, are otherwise missing, but it looks like all the important stuff is there as far as the details go. Let's take a look at the E. And coming from the lack of detail on the D, we go back to the super details here on the E, where it looks like most of the windows are taken care of. The lines are inscribed, not, well, no, those should be raised. Essentially, those are different platforms there. But all of these lines are inscribed, not raised grid lines. The details and the shapes are pretty much there. Again, you could light this, but it would require careful masking on your part from the inside to light block everything and then put really strong LEDs in the engines of these things. And I really had thought this ship was much larger. And that Cadet series is one huge pile of plastic. As mentioned, the lack of detail on the D was surprising to see, considering the presence of detail on the other kits. Whereas the E was done with inscribed lines all over the place. Most of the other ships were done with raised grid lines. Depending on how particular you want to get, you may have a lot of sanding in front of you. If you're just going to slap these together, they're definitely going to be beautiful. And having all 6 of them in a nice small scale like this makes for an easy presentation as well. Having all the detailing done for you by the decals makes it all the more easy. No stands are included with these kits, so you're going to have to figure out your own way to do it. Well, this is a real surprise. I've probably seen a few diagrams here showing the relative scale difference between these two ships. But essentially, that's just crazy. Wow. Here's a look at the decals for the D. Nice subtle color details. Great registration. Sharp lines everywhere. Really nice work. And here is the set for the original 3. Peeling off the protective paper kind of stuck to the back here, unlike the others which just peeled off nicely. That could indicate an issue with the decals when they go down. The grays might be a little strong on the Aztecing for this scale. That doesn't look too bad in there. The decals for the C here seem stupefyingly simple. Like I'm waiting for a third sheet to suddenly appear from somewhere. But this ship is pretty much all saucer. I just wouldn't have thought the details were so simple on it. And for the E, it looks like they went tan. Again, not a lot of details, but the hull itself did have a lot of details on it, so that's probably going to take care of most of everything. But I'm still surprised to see the lack of windows. Nice work all throughout all these decals. Everything's been sharp. No registration problems at all. Round 2 has some on and off difficulties with their decals that go back several years, so depending on what year any one of your kits is, for example, this says copyright 2010 and it's 2012 now, your results may vary. The instructions pretty much follow all the same formula. They're so easy that each kit in this case takes one individual leaf out of 6 to list how to put it together, and then less than that for how to decal it. These other 3 sets of instructions pretty much follow the same formula. Standard, similar front page, followed by instructions on the inside, with decal instructions on the back, bottom, inside, and the back side completely. Along with apparently some painting you can do.